I just got back from a trip where I traded my normal pre-market, market open session from hotel rooms and from the airport. And it worked. Not perfectly, but it worked well enough that I will do it again. Today I'm walking through what I'd keep exactly the same on the next trip and the small things that I'd change. If you've ever wondered whether you can actually run a serious trading routine on the road, this is the video for you. So stay tuned. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a few ideas for your own travel trading station. All right, so the first thing, the travel station was different than so I've, just to kind of set the stage a little bit, I have traded on all my trips since last summer. But this was the first one where I would be live streaming. So I did have to bring a few additional things. Plus my trading had evolved. So one thing that I learned on this trip is that I think it would be better for me if my travel station and my home station were the same, because I ended up having a learning curve. Every time I went to go travel, I was struggling with the layout on my screen. And I did try as I went through, I'll show you, as I went through the process, I did try simplifying my my layout, and I still have a lot to simplify. I tried trading just off the 1 minute chart. I was struggling with that a little bit. I tried taking the MACD off. I was struggling with that. I tried all different formats, and I'm still, that's definitely a work in progress. But I did try to simplify my layout because at home, the external monitor that I was using for trading is a lot bigger than my travel monitor, external monitor. So coming back home, I actually decided to mirror my travel station at home. So I took my big monitor away and I'm using my external travel monitor. I'm considering a second external monitor, but in any case, that's my new plan, is to have my travel station and my home station essentially be the same, so that when I do travel, there's zero difference. And I think this will eliminate any kind of anxiety or learning curve around the change. Okay, so that's the first thing. Because I feel like it did pull my focus, and it's already pulling my focus traveling, trading in a new place, exhaustion from traveling. I had a lot of issues with my flights this time. So yeah, so that's solution number one, is to have my home station and my travel station pretty much be the same as closely as possible. Like at home, I had this like big ring light on a tripod. And for the travel station, I got this tiny ring light for live streaming. And the tiny ring light has been working awesome. So I'm going to keep that instead. And yeah, I'm just going to try to mirror everything. Okay. The second thing is that I noticed that in some locations, because I traded from multiple hotels, I traded from the airport, I traded from the airport lounge, sometimes there was more lag in places than others. So one thing that I'm going to be doing, I started it this morning before I popped onto trade, and I'm going to be doing that, is I'm going to really optimize my computer and make sure that I've got background apps that I don't need gone, you know, kind of like look at all the different things that I can do to optimize my laptop. I realize I should be doing that anyway. I'm 55. I'm not really a tech person. But I'm going to put myself on a schedule of kind of like making sure my laptop's always optimized for performance, to kind of mitigate some of the lag that I might get in other places. Okay, and some other things. Something that worked really well, I got a bigger backpack, which I needed. That worked out great. I already mentioned the ring light. And I wanted to kind of maybe switch up the position of the laptop and the external monitor, but I ended up just, again, keep everything the same across the board. I found that I was having some trouble adjusting, and if I use the same station in both places, I feel like I'm going to have a lot more success. All right, having said that, some things I do differently. Cable management, okay? What I did was I had all my cables in like 2 bags, and it wasn't really fitting. And one was a big Ziploc bag, and one was like a zipper old makeup bag. So what I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to buy 2 cable management cases, okay? And I'm going to put everything from my trading station in one. And then I'm going to put everything that I don't use for my trading station, like my phone stuff or my earphones, my headphones, that will go in another one. So I'll have 2 separate cases, one just for the trading station stuff and one for everything else. And I will definitely, I ended up buying a second adapter on the trip, and it was really great to have 2 adapters. So I could keep one adapter with my trading station set up, and the other adapter I could use for my phone next to the bedside, because I wanted to be able to charge my phone at night and use my phone next to the bed. So I'm definitely going to also keep 2 adapters. Really helpful. So cable management, 2 adapters. And I think that will kind of make it easier for me, because I had to keep packing everything up and then setting everything up. And then also, along with cable management, I brought extra cables because I wasn't really sure exactly what I was going to want or need. And I'm glad I did. And, but, it got really messy. Especially like I'm trying to unpack everything in the airport lounge, and then there's like cables everywhere. So I think I'm going to get some zip ties and kind of like get everything neat and exactly the right length. And that way I can just kind of unplug it and wrap it up and stick it in a case. I just want to like minimize the time it takes me to break everything down and set everything back up, because I was doing that frequently. I mean, I was trading. I didn't trade on the way there because of the flight times, but when I got there, let's see, I traded in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations. Okay, so I traded in the first hotel. I stayed in a different hotel the last night after my friend left. I traded in another hotel when I had a layover, and then I traded in the airport itself near a gate, and then I traded in a lounge. So 5 different locations. I was breaking my station down and setting it up. So I'm going to try to find ways to manage the cables to make that a little bit easier. The other thing is I didn't always use my second monitor like in the airport. At the hotels I did, but in the airport I didn't. And the lounge actually had room. I could have done that. I just felt like the whole system was kind of clunky. So like I said, I have to streamline my system of packing everything up and breaking everything down. And I think that's something that I will improve on for the next trip. Now, as far as logistics, as far as actually like enjoying a trip that I'm trading on, I've traded on all my trips, but this was the first one that I live streamed. And so previously, if I wanted to do a day trip or something like that, I just didn't trade. But now that I'm live streaming, I've kind of committed to my viewers, you guys, and because you're helping me, you're motivating me, and I want to be there for you. And consistency is important to me. And honestly, the live streaming is helping me. So next time, I think I will be more conscious. I have 2 trips planned already, one in June, a brief trip to Vegas, and then a trip to Thailand and Seoul, Korea at the end of the year. And if I plan any other trips, so those flights are already set. But in the future, when I'm booking travel as far as transportation, I am going to keep in mind my trading schedule. And look for flights. I can't always control things that are rebooked and all of that, but I'm going to try to keep in mind like the times that I'm flying, so that I'm not cutting into my trading time and my live stream time. That ended up being pretty stressful, to be honest. And and that way I think I'll plan ahead more like what I'm going to be doing for sightseeing, because I didn't really plan anything in advance. My friend was doing some planning, but I was used to having more flexibility in terms of winging it as far as the sightseeing goes. And then I ended up missing something I really wanted to see in Prague because of that. So from now on, I will plan the flights better and I will plan the sightseeing better so that I can optimize both. As far as sharing a hotel room, my friend was very gracious about me trading and live streaming at the hotel room. We shared a room, and it's super fun to share a room with her. And it's super fun to share a room with friends when you're traveling with friends. However, I did find it I felt like it was difficult. I'm sure she was being very gracious about it, but maybe getting an adjacent room so that when I'm not trading, we can have the doors open and chit chat and do all the girl stuff and, talk about what we're going to wear and what we're going to do and all that. But I can then shut the door and be able to trade and not disrupt the other person, and also, not have to worry about feeling a little stress and anxiety about it. Again, all these little things are things that pull your focus, right? So let's see, I talked about the sightseeing schedule. And so I think I'm going to be reframing my travel where it's like I'm not really on vacation, but I'm working and I happen to be in a different city. Okay. And that's kind of like maybe a mental shift, because previously I was on vacation and I decided to do some trading. And I think I need to do a mental shift where I'm going to be working, right? And then I'm just working in a different location, whether it's a hotel in another city, whether it's an airport, whether it's a public space, whether it's a lounge. And I will be planning more about the lounges, because some lounges have really great setups. Like I was in the Lufthansa lounge in Frankfurt. And if I had planned ahead, I would have known that they had some really great workstations with quiet, and I could have, really found opportunities to do some work from there. So I'm going to be doing a little bit more advanced planning. Okay. So the principle that really hit me as far as when I first was planning this whole series about traveling and trading and setting up a station, a lot of it I was thinking was like the equipment and, the trading itself. But I think a lot of it has to do with all the other stuff. What's your quality, the quality of the trip? It's hard to trade when you're really, really exhausted, and traveling can be really exhausting. So, I think I need to keep that in mind. If you're a hobby trader, I think it works fine to kind of play it by ear, and some days trade and some days don't. But I'm committing to this. I'm making a real commitment to this. My goal is to have this be my job. So I need to treat it as such and put that planning into it so that I have a really good experience as far as trading, and also that I'm enjoying my time in that other city. I did, however, really have a good experience trading. Trading next to the gate in the airport, I don't know. That was a little rough. It was too distracting. Okay. Just too much going on. So, I just have to keep that in mind in the future. I'm not super easily distracted, but that was next level. And I would probably in the future try to plan, okay, I'm going to do this in the lounge and this in this spot and what have you. But I think also planning the timing of my flights, maybe just avoiding that window altogether if possible, is probably going to make it a lot easier for me. All right, so that is my travel trading recap. Okay. Stay tuned for, in future trips, I will continue to trade and live stream. And so stay tuned for me to completely keep evolving this. And I do have digital nomad aspirations down the road, so that's what I'm kind of looking at. And I will see you soon. Trade smart.